Welcome to the Dalton Highway, the ice road, the most dangerous road in the world. I watch huge trucks passing alongside us on this gravel highway, hoping they don't veer off course and straight into the car. We get stuck behind a truck that can't get traction on the loose gravel. I get out of the car and go for a walk alongside the most dangerous road in the world, and I see a moose. Or the moose sees me. Welcome to the Dalton Highway, folks. Hi, welcome to the second day here in Fairbanks in the middle of rural Alaska. So waking up this morning, I got about 4 hours sleep in total. My body hasn't adjusted to the new time zone. We're 8 hours ahead of the UK. Which is going to be a problem tonight because I'm going to be out until 4 a.m. But we'll come to that later. So it snowed really heavily last night. Outside of my window you can see how thick the snow is. Every so often you can hear the Alaska Railroad horn somewhere in the distance, but I don't actually know where the railroad station is. So today we are going to be going on a tour that lasts 14 hours along the Dalton Highway, the famous road on Ice Road Truckers, the TV series. It's supposedly the world's most dangerous road, and a lot of it isn't actually a road, it's a dirt track. We will be following the path of the oil pipeline that goes from the very top of Alaska near Point Barrow down to southern Alaska and then the rest of the US. We'll be following that for, I think, over 1,000 miles in total. We're going halfway up Alaska and then turning round and coming back once we've got to the Arctic Circle. So I'm just waiting for my tour guide to come and pick me up, and then we will be on our way for the 14-hour journey along the world's most dangerous road. So make sure you keep watching to see what that's like.
Some of the commercial mines, or finding their own gold claim to stake and work.
So it's about a 45-minute ride just outside of Fairbanks before you get to the road that leads to the Dalton Highway. It gives you a bit of a flavour of what it's going to be like on the Dalton Highway. It's quite gravelly, slippy, icy, and there aren't many people. But when we get onto the highway itself, there definitely won't be any people. So this is just a flavour of what it's going to be like for the next 13 hours. So welcome to the last truck stop in Alaska. If you go any farther north, there are no more fueling stations, despite being the home of the oil and gas industry in America. This is a roadside cafe fuel station I just went in and the cashier told me about her neighbour who'd been murdered. So I guess you're a certain type of person is attracted to living out in the middle of nowhere, Alaska. Well, yeah, the loneliest truck stop in Alaska. We're now going to be travelling north to the Dalton Highway. As we got closer and closer to the Dalton Highway, the snow got thicker and thicker, and it was difficult to even see anything moving in the trees.
Miles long, crosses 3 major fault lines and mountain ranges, and over 500 rivers and streams. Back in 1968, they opened the Arctic for oil exploration, and that led to them discovering not just oil up here in the North Slope area, but also realizing they had a huge, massive, pretty neat. Do you mind taking which direction? Right under this. I think we should put it in there because it says.
So this is the Alaska Pipeline, 800 miles from Prudhoe Bay in the very far north of Alaska, all the way down to a port in the southern half of Alaska. It's built on permafrost, and it's got heating inside the pipe to stop the oil from freezing. And these things here are called pigs. They're used to clean the insides of the pipe. They're pushed down from Prudhoe Bay all the way through to the very end of the pipeline in the south.
What these do is, so crude oil is a very dirty product. It's filled with a lot of waxy buildup and sand as it comes off the ground. And these scraper pigs flow through with the oil and kind of scrape all that out. So they'll set it to run between certain points, and where they take them out from there, they'll dig out all that gunk and then take the pig out and send it back up to go through again.
As we were driving along, we spotted this baby moose calf and its mum or dad somewhere in the trees. These had lost their antlers at this time of year, but it's not uncommon for huge bull moose, big moose to jump in front of trucks and cause accidents in the darkest bits of the Dalton Highway. It gets really dark really quickly in this part of Alaska, especially in the dead of winter, and we saw these huge truck convoys passing us several times along the highway. Welcome to the Dalton Highway, the ice road, the most dangerous road in the world. This is the most dangerous road in the world. It goes all the way from Fairbanks in mid-Alaska all the way up to Prudhoe Bay right in the north. It's pitch black. Right at the site of the start of the Dalton Highway. before we properly get onto the Dalton Highway, I wanted to give you a bit of history of this road, the most remote and rugged road in the world, also known as Alaska Route 11. The story begins in 1968 when massive oil reserves were discovered at Prudhoe Bay on the very far north slope of Alaska. To support the construction of the Trans-Alaska Pipeline, a road was needed to transport equipment, supplies and workers to this really isolated region. The task of building the road was given to the Alyeska Pipeline Service Company. Preceding this were smaller industrial roads built during World War II, including the Canal Road, but they didn't really do the job. Construction of what was initially called the North Slope Haul Road began in 1974, and it was built in just 5 months. This almost 400-mile road ran parallel to the pipeline all the way up Alaska, from Livengood to Dead Horse, crossing thick forests, the Yukon River and the Brooks Range. And it was named after James Dalton, an Arctic engineer and pioneer in oil exploration. It was initially designed for industrial use only. It was vital to the pipeline's construction and maintenance, and for nearly a decade after it was opened, it was completely closed to the public. But in 1981, the first 80 miles were open to civilian traffic, and by 1994, the entire route was accessible, but it remains one of the most challenging roads in the world. It's definitely not for the unprepared. With no phone signal, limited emergency services, only 3 settlements across the whole 400 miles in Coldfoot, Wiseman and Dead Horse. Drivers must carry all the supplies they might need, such as extra fuel, food and water, in the car with them. And the road really needs to be respected. You've got thick forests all around, gravel roads, steep gradients, and temperatures that can drop below -50 Fahrenheit in winter. The rules of the road are also important. Industrial trucks, those huge trucks, always have the right of way, and they can create dust clouds in the darkness that can really obscure your visibility. But the road is really important to the lifeline of the Alaska oil industry, and it stands testament to the ingenuity and determination of those who sought to conquer the Arctic's unforgiving wilderness. And it is a bucket list journey for adventurers, and that's why I wanted to ride on the Dalton Highway. Now let's get back to the Dalton Highway. So this is what it was like for about 200 miles of the journey. It was just pitch black, not another soul in sight, and you had to dip your car headlights when another car or truck was coming, and they would do the same. When a truck passed, it shook the car, and lots of dust shot up into the air. Sometimes it made it difficult to see out of the windscreen. Currently we're driving over one of the steepest gradients on the road, and you could feel the car really struggling to get a grip.
Make it up on its own, and they link bumpers to give them that extra boost up over.
When this bit of the video was filmed, it was probably about 3 in the morning. It was creepy driving slow through this area with the huge trees, the darkness and the glow of the headlights.
She contracted a disease that's 100% fatal.
So we're now crossing over the only bridge in Alaska to cross the Yukon River, the E.L. Patton Bridge. It's 2,290 foot long. about 140 miles north of Fairbanks, and it's made from wood. And when trucks crush the wood, they just replace beams of wood along the bridge. It's only one of the only places on the whole Dalton Highway that has lights as well. But it was rickety is probably the best word to describe this bridge. Rickety and slightly swaying in the wind. This is the Yukon River Camp, the last settlement on the Dalton Highway for over 500 miles. There's nothing else here. The Dalton Highway is crazy. You get big oil tankers coming along the road.
Is it a water highway for the people who live along it? It's basically their road access to other places. But it's also a very important salmon river for the Native Alaskans that live along it, as well as the First Nations people in Canada that live along its banks. Salmon populations have declined quite significantly over the last 20 years or so, and the returns haven't been what they once were.
We then got stuck behind this huge truck that couldn't get traction on the really loose gravel on the highway, and we were stuck behind it for probably a good 45 to 50 minutes, and we couldn't go around it either because the road is so narrow that it's too dangerous. So welcome to the Arctic Circle. So I'm now south of the Arctic Circle, and I'm now north of the Arctic Circle, and now I'm one leg in the south and one leg in the north.
Copy.
Just you?
Just me back here, thanks.
When you're passing on the highway, you're supposed to use the CB radio to let people know, but I saw trucks overtaking and they didn't do that. This area is supposedly known as the Brothers Grimm area because of the really dark forests and tall fir and pine trees. We decided to stop here and get out and go for a walk alongside the Dalton Highway in the darkest part of the road, because why wouldn't you? On our way back towards Fairbanks, I saw the best northern lights I've ever seen. Really bright green, orange, yellow hues in the sky. You could even see them with your naked eye, which shows how strong these northern lights were. The guide said it was the best she'd seen in about 10 years of driving this road, so this was definitely something special. As the night went on, the road got quieter and quieter, and we didn't see any other trucks or cars for probably about 5 hours. The truckers had either left the road or they'd pulled over for a sleep. So that was the Dalton Highway, the world's most dangerous road made famous by the ice road truckers on Nat Geo. If you don't think it was the world's most dangerous road and you don't understand why this is one thing that I can now tick off my bucket list, go back and rewatch this video. You've got massive trucks on single carriage road, rural roads, dirt tracks, thick snow, sheets of ice, animals running across the road, CV radios that you can hardly understand what people are saying, angry truckers who have been driving for 24 hours non-stop from Prudhoe Bay in the north down to Fairbanks. It is a unique experience that I'm glad I've experienced while I've been here in Fairbanks. That was one of the 3 things that I wanted to do when I came to Alaska. And then, of course, we had the Northern Lights. So I am exhausted. I think what I'm going to do now is put my bag down. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe for the next couple of videos from Alaska. Would you travel along the most dangerous road in the world? Would you drive yourself? Because you don't need special training or a license or permit to do it. You don't need a 4x4 and you don't need a CV radio. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I think it's now time for me to just drop down and go to sleep. Bye.